I almost feel like taps or something should be playing when I retire these shoes, but they have officially crossed the 400-mile threshold, so I think it is just about time to bid them farewell. Cheers, y'all. How's it going? The day has finally arrived. It's a bit of a bittersweet video for y'all today because I think it's finally time to retire my Saucony Kinvara 11s. I just fell in love with these shoes immediately after putting them on for the first time. These are shoes that I bought for myself. They weren't sent to me for any purpose of review or anything like that. I was just looking for a new everyday trainer, found the Kinvara 11s, decided to give them a shot. This was also my first pair of Sauconys that I'd ever run in recently, and was just incredibly impressed. Loved the feel of the shoe, like I said, and have been incredibly impressed with the ride so far. So very, very much looking forward to maybe my next pair of Sauconys, hopefully. Very sad to be saying farewell to the Kinvara 11s. I may break them out every now and again if I just have like a quick run or something like that, maybe some light speed work that I want to try in the interim when I transition to whatever that next shoe may be. But at 403 miles, I think it is time to say farewell to the Kinvara 11s and maybe look at upgrading to those new Kinvara 12s. I was doing some investigating. They look pretty nice with some upgrades that I'll touch on. But first, let's do the review of how these shoes have held up over 400 miles because truth be told, they made it much, much farther than I expected they ever would. So just to quickly recap some of the basics about the shoe. So it is an incredibly lightweight shoe. Again, something that really attracted me to trying out the Kinvaras. Just 7.8 ounces, a lot lighter than the shoes that I'm used to. So was very, very much looking forward to that when I first purchased these. Also a very low drop, only 4mm drop between the heel and the toe, substantially less than some of the other shoes that I run with. So was very much looking forward to giving those a try. 4mm drop, and just overall a pretty low stack height. You can see there's pretty minimal foam on the midsole here, just the bare minimum to keep you comfortable while also keeping that overall weight as low as possible. In terms of the upper, you've got this very, very thin, very breathable mesh upper, very lightweight, again, very minimal cushioning throughout the upper, just really a little bit of padding on the tongue, and then that little bit of structure in the heel to make sure that it keeps it nice and locked in place. It is a neutral running shoe, so none of those stability plates or anything like that. It also uses Saucony's form fit technology, which again, I mentioned in an earlier review. It led to these shoes feeling a little bit snug when I first put them on. I wasn't sure that I was gonna like them, but over time, that form fit material, that foam really did kind of take the shape and mold to the shape of my feet, which led to a much more comfortable shoe. It was really just that first 2 to 3 runs maybe as that foam was shifting to the shape of my foot that it felt a little bit snug, but then perfectly comfortable after that. So that's the form fit technology. Moving down to the midsole, it is their power run foam technology, very lightweight foam, very responsive foam, and again, something that I noticed right away. It's thin enough that you still feel really connected with the ground. You feel that ground contact with every step, while the cushioning is just enough to give you a little bit of a bounce or a little bit of a push response with each step, but also protects your leg from the stress of pounding the pavement. So just really, really love that technology, that foam on this shoe. And then the outsole as well. This was probably the piece that I was most worried about when I first tried these shoes. And also the reason why I didn't think they would last nearly as long as they did is that they really just have the absolute minimal amount of outsole that they could use just really in those high contact points where you worry the most about wear and tear. The rest of the sole is just the exposed foam. So you have a little bit here on the toe, a little bit here on the heel, which is exactly where my shoes tend to wear down. And you can see, I mean, the outsole, sure, there's plenty of wear, but it held up remarkably well. The biggest part that I'm starting to see this wear is right in the middle of that forefoot right here, but nothing too substantial. And again, this is 400 plus miles of running. I think these are holding up incredibly well given the fact that virtually the entire sole is exposed foam. Just to give you a quick view of the shoe, I mean, you can take a look. Obviously, there's a few scratches and things like that along the way, but overall, the shoe held up really well. The foam has certainly compressed a little bit over time. I think that's expected with every shoe, especially after 400 miles. This is just gonna start to compress a little bit, lose some of that squishiness, some of that spring that it had on those earlier miles, which is just typical wear and tear. It's gonna happen again on this side too. But the mesh, the upper held up remarkably well. No rips, no tears, nothing like that. Just the scuffs from everyday running. And then again, on the sole, it's really just the wear right here in the middle and then just ever so slight wear on those outsole rubber pieces as well. But overall, the shoe has held up really well. I'm really just retiring these, A, because I'm itching to get a new pair of shoes, and B, as I mentioned, with the foam kind of settling down, I am starting to feel the contact with the ground a little bit more than I would like, the stress from that contact. So looking for a little bit squishier, a little bit more responsive of a shoe, especially as I transition into this new block of training for the New York City Marathon. I am weighing my options. The Kinvara 12 is definitely high up on my list of something to consider, especially because I'm also looking at the Saucony Endorphin Pro series, or the Endorphin series, as a possible race shoe. I looked, there are still some 11s out on the market. Of course, the frugal runner in me had to check that out. They're on sale for about 60 bucks right now, an incredible price for the shoe, but the sizes are very, very limited on the Saucony website. I might check around, see Amazon, Zappos, things like that, to see if anybody has a Kinvara 11 in my side, just because I love these shoes so much, and it's 60 bucks. I might just snag a pair just so I have a backup pair of running shoes. But as I mentioned, I am strongly considering upgrading to the Kinvara 12s. It looks like overall the major design of the shoe has remained remarkably similar. The sole especially is the same power run technology, the same foam, pretty much the same design on where the outsole rubber is, a little bit less in this toe area, specifically with kind of this middle joint right here. They thin that out a little bit, probably just trying to, again, continue to cut weight wherever possible. And then the mesh as well is a new kind of 3D printed, engineered mesh, just the more lightweight, more minimalist, to cut out any non-essential cushion, any non-essential weight, to bring the overall weight of the shoe down from 7.8 ounces to 7.5. So I will be interested to see how that feels. The upper still has that form fit, so I'm hoping to feel that kind of same secure, almost customized fit of the shoe. But just really interested to see if the Kinvara 12s can make it as long as the Kinvara 11s did, and if I love them as much as I've loved this shoe. I was very hesitant going into the relationship with this shoe just because it was my first time running in Sauconys. This was so much more lightweight of a shoe than I was used to, and just took some time to get used to, took some time to warm up to, but pretty much immediately fell in love after the first couple runs with just how comfortable the ride was, and just really interested in replicating that with my next shoe. So whether it's another pair of the Saucony Kinvara 11s or upgrading to the 12s are also only 110 bucks, so a great price for a pretty durable shoe, a great everyday trainer, and definitely something that I'm willing to spend on my next marathon trainer. So I have very much appreciated every mile I've gotten out of these Kinvara 11s. The first runs I took them on was my David Goggins challenge. They got me through that 48-hour brutal slog of a run, and they've been with me for so long since then. So have really appreciated these shoes, and just cannot wait to see what's next in store for my daily trainer. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please give us a thumbs up, and if you don't already, I hope you'll click that subscribe button, and I will be back shortly to reveal whatever my choice is in the next shoe that I will be upgrading towards. But until then, I'll see you around. Thanks for joining me. Cheers.